My guest today is an American professional boxer and actress. She is a former world champion in 2 different weight classes. She plays one of the main roles in the series True Detective Night Country that airs on HBO and Stöð 2 in Iceland. She's tough, talented, and versatile. It's Kali Reis. Welcome, my friend. How are you doing?
Thank you so much. I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Yeah, good. It's cold in Iceland, as you probably remember.
Absolutely, it is. It's cold. It's cold. It's cold in Philly too. But I miss the Icelandic cold. I do.
It's a different kind of cold, right?
It's a different kind of cold, and the wind. The wind is what I could not put my finger on, man. It'd be, oh, it's not so cold, and the wind blows, and it's like, nope, it's freezing.
It's freezing. Yeah. So first, of course, how was your stay in Iceland?
Absolutely wonderful. I'm trying to get permanent residency. I loved it there. I mean, I couldn't imagine another place to have to live for 7 months. The people, the food, the atmosphere, the scenery, everything. I mean, my trainer,
Of course,
no,
yeah.
everything it was an amazing stay. I mean, I want to come back soon.
Yeah, since you were here like 7 months, you had it all. You had the winter, you had the night country for real, like 24 hours of darkness and the cold, and then the summertime as well. So you saw it all.
I did.
And that's not like so you still want to come, so that means something, right?
It means something. No, it was like nothing no other place I've ever been before, and I didn't know what to expect because I didn't
No?
really know much about Iceland. But I love the fact that you guys know so much about your country and you love your country, and it's you guys are kind of like indigenous in your own right because the folklore, the tales, the
Yeah,
beliefs, everything that you have. Like when I was going in a certain part of town, you're like, so don't cross that mountain because I absolutely love it, man. It was amazing. So yes, I will be back.
yeah, you're so welcome, you're so welcome. Now I remember you talking about the folklore, and that's of course a huge part of Iceland. Like every kid that grows up here learns the Icelandic saga, and you related to that, like being an indigenous person yourself. So
Yeah.
is that also a huge part of your growing up?
Yeah, I mean, it's funny that I ended up being an actress because stories and storytelling is something
Hmm.
that indigenous communities that we used as passing down language, culture, creation stories, and then you'll find every different, even families, tribes, bands in different
Mm.
parts of the Americas, Turtle Island, what we call it.
Yeah.
There's different creation stories for different seasons, different ways how we became humans on the earth. Like it's so
Mm.
amazing. And it just gets passed down from generation to generation. There might be some changes, some tweaks, or some things you might have to add to scare the kids to bed, but.
Yeah. Yeah. We need those as well. So the kids will go to bed early.
Mhm.
Uh, Anything that stood out? Something that reminds you like of home, or like what we Icelandic people do?
Just the respect you have for your land.
Hmm.
When the gods, and when there's a god of everything, and like I started learning exactly when and why the Northern Lights would come out. Like I'd be like, oh, it's gonna be a good night. I can feel it. Like, yeah, it's gonna be Northern Lights. That was something that was amazing. And the energy, there's like an unspoken energy that is around some places,
Hmm.
especially when I went up north to Akureyri. I was
Ah,
like, this is a different type of energy up here.
yeah,
And I
yeah.
remember you telling me, you're on the good side of the mountain. Don't go on the other side because there's some elves and trolls out there. I'm like,
Mm,
okay.
yeah.
So that and also the fairies. I absolutely love the fairies. Like, do not remove rocks from where they are because they live there. Like
Mm.
when you guys explained all that, I'm like, that is so like something indigenously. Like we don't just take things. Like we leave something, or if we take, we gotta give something to take something.
Mm.
So it's just very, very relatable.
Yeah, it's such a funny thing that because I grew up with these stories like with the elves and I still today I like I can't say I believe in them, but I respect them in some ways. It's something so different. It's so strange to think about, like some elf that is not real, but it's still real, and you don't move rocks. You can't. We go past when we put down the roads. We're like,
Mhm.
no, there's no road gonna be there because there's an elf village there. Let's like
Yeah,
take it 50 meters to the right, and it's
exactly.
still done. Yeah, yeah.
It's the same way with here. Like there's like you don't whistle at night. That's like an indigenous like you don't whistle on night because the little people, or there will be something that's going to come get you, or don't look an owl in its eyes because, it means bad things. Like there's all kinds of different, I guess you would say, universal beliefs that indigenous people have. Like we'll kind of believe in the 4 directions, 7 generations, stuff like that. But from every family, every tribe is just different. And it's like there might be some things that maybe as you get older, you're like, nah, but then you have respect for it. So that's exactly yep.
And you, I remember getting a phone call from someone who were working with Isa Lopez, your director of True Detective, and she was experiencing some noise. Do you remember that?
I do, because I had some noise in my house too.
Ah, yeah.
Noise. It was actually the house I was staying in Akureyri. Remember, it was a friend of yours' houses, and I had a visitor, but it was I was respectful, and I think it was more or less a curious type of energy, and I was okay after like maybe a week or two. Didn't really bother me, but I had some noise. But Issa had a lot of noise in her house, and she was right around the corner from me. I'm like, keep your noise over there. Don't bring your noise to my house.
Yeah, she got an exorcist, like, or something, right? Sighting come out in Icelandic.
Yeah, they had a contact. I don't know what is the term, or I don't really know whether it's like a not a shaman, not a witch, but somebody who practices those type of energetic things. And they had a call and like had pretty much like an exorcism of our house. I was like, oh my God. But I didn't experience that, but I had definitely some knocking on the door, some moving on some things, some playing with the lights. And I'm like, okay, I'm here. I come in peace. Hey guys. I mean, no harm, no foul kind of a thing. But I travel, whenever I travel with certain things from home. Maybe my eagle feathers or different crystals or stones or things that and I have my own little ritual wherever I go to kind of clear my house, sage, cedar, anything. Kind of like, hey man, I mean no harm. I'm just here to visit. This is your house. I'm just, I'll stay out of your way. You stay out of mine.
And it's so funny to experience that in Akureyri because it's so linked to the storyline of the show as well, like the supernatural and
Yeah, I was like, I don't know if I'm slipping into the Navarro world or I'm Kaylee. I don't know if we're crossing. We're crossing here. I don't know what's going on.
Now I understand. Like sometimes when you came for practice, you were still kind of a little bit of in the Navarro world, like mentality. I remember that. Like now I get it. Like more seeing the show because I never knew what the storyline was. So I can see now that like first few minutes you were a little bit Navarro-ish.
Yeah, it was not tough. I had my own way of like checking in and checking out, but because that was so, I barely had days off, and because the character was so heavy, there was a period in time where like it was hard to disconnect. So it would show up in my that's why in training with you or going to train or go do something that was very much Kaylee and not Navarro was so important because I had to just disconnect myself because she's such a deep, dark, layered character in the story too. So it was, I'm sure some days I showed up, he was like, what the hell? But now I'm so glad you get it. I'm so glad you get it.
Now I get it. Yeah. Health.
Yes.
So you're in good health now, right?
I am in good health. I'm feeling a little under the weather, but I think it's because of the temperature change. One day it's really warm, another day it's just those times of year. But otherwise, overall, maintaining and feeling healthy.
Yeah. You probably get this a lot. Like, are you planning on returning to the boxing world anytime soon, or?
Absolutely. My husband and I have been talking about what's going to make sense because we wanted to kind of wait till the show comes out, see what kind of crazy schedule that I have right now doing, the promo tour and everything. And then the aftermath is like, what am I going to do next? So I want to fight this year. I don't want another 5-year career. I got to fight again. So we're just trying to figure out what's going to make the best sense. But I can put it this way. I'm not going to come back to boxing unless it's a big fight. I'm not going to come and just, let me fight a little fight and say hello. No. I'm going, you know me by now. I'm going to go all the way in. So we're just trying to figure out right now what's going to make sense, who, where, when. my schedule because, as you know, I haven't fought in 2 years, so I've been maintaining, but I haven't trained. And training for a fight is way different than just maintaining. So once we figure out what works best, and when I can have a solid 3-month training camp or whatever it needs to be, I'm definitely going to return. It's just a matter of when.
I'll be looking at my phone, like waiting for a call to take care of your fitness.
Absolutely. No, you will. I'm dead serious, man. We're just checking off different boxes, like who needs to do what. I want a full team. This guy does this guy does that. I even want a nutritionist, and I've never worked with one, but like we're like taking everything to a T, because it's 2 years later, I'm older, my body's a little different, and I want to do everything properly. Not saying we didn't do it in the past, but there wasn't a one-on-one focus for just my fitness, just my health, just my meals, just my nutrition. And we have the opportunity now. We have the time and the opportunity when it presents itself. So we're going to take everything very, very like counting everything and see, and because I want to be the best. So,
well, you were the best, so you know how to do that, right? But
absolutely,
I watch swimming, boxing a lot, and I follow the fighting world, as you know, like through the UFC, and maybe it's more on my radar, but I feel like women's boxing is getting huge, like proper huge, right?
You had Amanda Serrano and Katie Taylor had the first $1 million payday fight, and they headlined at Madison Square Garden.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Last year. And then you'll see on every card now, it's at least two or three female fights on a card, where that never really happened. And then you're seeing quality fights too. There's a difference between having female fights, and then you're seeing all these quality, even the opponents, the B-side opponents are really good. And so it's just really getting some more hype. Very, very, it's in due time. It's due, it's been kind of past due. But it's also, I'm excited to be able to see all these young girls coming out of the amateurs, and then all these promoters and these networks taking a chance and actually putting the fights on. So it's definitely, we still got some work to do, but it's definitely on a good trajectory.
So, like, I know you fought like 27 times, right? Like over, how long was your career?
So I went pro in 2008. So it's a little over 15 years now as a professional. 19-7 with 5 knockouts. So 27 fights and 1 draw. Sometimes I forget my record. It's ridiculous. I get punched in the face, so that's my excuse. But yeah, I've been fighting for a long time. So that's a solid career for a professional, and to have 6 world titles in 2 different weight classes. And then the best thing about where I'm at right now is where I'm not getting she needs to hang it up, she needs to quit. I'm getting more like, yo, when are you coming back? When are you coming back? Are you gonna fight again? So it's a good anticipation. Like I told you before, do I have to fight now? No. Do I want to? Absolutely. Yeah. From me, and just because I know I can, and I'm not done yet. You know what I mean? I don't want a long 7 more years in the game. I'll always be involved in it, helping my husband manage. We coach fighters together, commentating.
Exactly.
But I still got some juice left, so why not? I gotta leave it all in the ring, as they say.
Yeah, one for the road, like kind of at least one for the road, like
At least 2 or 3, but at least with the one. I gotta get it. I gotta get back in there.
Yeah, of course. It's an addiction. I see it with the fighters I train, and I hang around. Like it's. I worked with professional athletes in football and soccer, or like when they feel like their time is done, it's like totally done. They follow football or soccer, whatever you want to call it, but it's different with fighters. They are so invested in it that their identity so much, like it's a different thing. Yeah, I like it.
Not taking anything away from any other sports, but you have something like football. There's a season. There's no season in boxing. There's no season of fighting. We're always training. We're always watching it. Where there's always fights on. There's always MMA fights on. There's always something to do. You can go to a different weight class. You can go, you know what I mean? You can switch. You can cross over from boxing to MMA or vice versa. There's so many things. It is an addiction. We're addicts. It's fine. Yeah. Fighters are.
What inspires you to do it? Like, how did you start?
Well, I first started playing basketball and softball. And my big brothers played basketball. Like, I'm a huge basketball head. I actually started watching a little bit more now. But nobody in my family boxed or anything. I just was really sporty as a kid. And, I was always the only girl playing with the boys and always playing football, tackle something or climbing a tree, just a little rough kid, man. But I got I used to like Rocky. Oddly enough, I live in Philly now, but I used to love to watch Rocky 1, and I'm like, oh, that's cool. I don't think there's any boxing where I live in Rhode Island, but New York and Philly, that's really cool. And then I got a wind of my mom's friend. He's a native jewelry maker. He used to be a fighter. So I was like, hmm, I'm gonna start bugging him to start training me. And so I used to go to his jewelry stand at powwows and be like, yeah, you need to train me. And he was just like, yeah, no, girls don't need to be fighting. He's really old school. But I finally convinced him to start showing me some things. He came to the house, immediately fell in love with it. I was addicted to it. And then my father actually took me to a gym in Pawtucket, Rhode Island, Peter Manfredo Senior's Gym. Yeah, and I started taking some classes. I was still playing basketball and volleyball in school. But I was going through some things and it just really didn't, I wasn't a team sport player, whereas I was really good, but the whole coach thing and like it just wasn't working all the time, put it that way. And then my basketball team, I used to get benched a lot for no reason. I didn't really get along with the coaches too much. So I found boxing and it kind of found me. And then my very first amateur fight, it was what we call smokers. So there was no sanctioning body. It was kind of like all the gyms meet at one gym. We match each other up and we fight kind of a thing. I fought this lady. She was like a school nurse. She was like in her like early 20s, this little white lady, looked sweet as hell. I got my ass whooped. And I was like, what the hell? So I was like, okay. You had the crossroads where you're like, do I just stop because I just got my ass handed to me, or do I take I take a right, and I'm like, well, how do I make that not happen again? So I just got obsessed with it, and I started training more, and I got better and better and better. So the motivation number one was just I needed an outlet. There was a lot of things I was going through as a kid, and I wanted a creative outlet where other things weren't doing it for me. And the fact that on team sports you have a team, if you're having a bad day, you can have a sub. You can bench, you have a sub. Boxing, any combat sports, you are responsible. You're sole responsible. You cannot blame anybody else. If you don't run, if you don't do what you need to do, the only one you have to blame is yourself. It's very self-accountable. So that aspect of it, I really loved. And then as when I went pro, bringing my heritage into boxing and kind of just seeing the motivation and inspiration I had on kids that looked like me or a younger generation that looked like me. We don't really see our faces in sports too much. And I started getting a lot of these people were inspired by doing what I do, and I was just doing it. So then that kind of became bigger than just me wanting to do it. And it kind of became a bigger picture of fighting for all my people and kind of putting that energy and using that energy as like a prayer type thing. And we call it our medicine. Nobody can tell you what your medicine is. And if I can fight and represent and talk about some things that normally wouldn't be heard, then I use my voice, and that's my biggest motivation now.
Nice, yeah. So it's all started with a nice nurse beating your ass, and then getting inspiration from her.
Yep, all her fault.
But it's a common theme that I hear from people that I work with. It's like they had the people that are the hardest workers, and they had a rough beginning. Most of them never had like the person that had the most talent wasn't always the person that succeeded. So you're one of the hard workers. I could see that from day one when we met and talked. Like, okay, she is a different breed. This one, I saw it from the first day we met. So it still shows. I saw that. I remember you talking about getting in a motorcycle accident, like in 2012, 13. And you recovered from that. Still,
I did.
Yeah. How was your? Was there a common theme when you were in the fight game? With like, did you pay more attention to your health, or the what do you call it, like the high end of sports kind of thinking, like I will take risk with my body to get the results? How did you think about those things?
Was it before or after my accident? Are you talking about?
Yeah, kind of after it. Did it teach you something, like with the recovery and maintenance?
You get told by doctors certain things. Like I got told that I shouldn't box anymore, that my knee's I'm gonna need surgery and that I'm gonna have this problem and that problem. What it taught me was for my recovery is don't listen to it.
Yeah.
Don't listen to it. You know what I mean? I wanted to box again. Luckily, my knee injury wasn't something that I didn't break anything, but I tore ligaments all over the place, as
Yeah.
you very well know.
Yeah.
Um, before I started taking care of myself, I really destroyed myself. I got into a really deep, dark depression with it because boxing was my everything. You know, I just had graduated from motorcycle school. I wanted to be a mechanic. I was working as a bouncer, and then I get into this accident, and I was in the best shape of my life then. And then I get everything kind of destroyed. And then 3 months later, I get assaulted by a police officer and he re-injures my knee. So I went to a deep, dark depression. I did not take care of myself. I was a full-blown alcoholic. I gained all kinds of weight. I thought my life is over. I might as well just go hard on that spectrum. Is either I go hard at taking care of myself or the other way. And I went the other way for a while until I started caring about myself. And I actually recovered and did my own kind of like recovery. I started very, very small. I was like 195 pounds. So I just started walking. I'm like, okay, I got this knee brace on. Let me just start walking. And let me just start walking in the pool. Let me just start doing small things. And I started very, very small. I felt like a dumbass because I go from fighting, you know, boxing and being able to run circles around people and beat up grown men to like not being able to even run a mile. So, but what I did teach me is that you got to trust the process
Yeah.
and you got to make sure you take it literally one step at a time because eventually you'll get to where you need to go. And my very first fight after I kind of got myself into my own rehab, a friend of mine got me away from where I was living. I slept on her couch and we started training again. I literally did everything just very small, very small, very small. I started sparring again, was getting my ass kicked, but I'm like, I know that eventually this will stop. And then my very first fight was my very first title fight. I didn't just go, let me just have a little four-rounder. I fought a title fight after being out for over a year and having an injury. And I just took my time and believed in myself, as cliche as that sounds, and didn't listen to the doctors. And then, you know, them telling me I shouldn't box again. 6 world titles later, I think I proved them wrong.
So the moral of the story: don't listen to your doctor, right? Or
Don't listen to your doctors, guys. It's a
don't.
bunch of shit. No,
No, you have to take it with a grain of salt. Every injury, because you know, this is something I deal with every day. Like, you know, if you limit yourself so much, you know, you should listen to them and their advice. But they're still, at the end of the day, it's an advice. It's not a life rule. So if you take it too seriously, you will not gain, or you will not be world champion as yourself, because you have to take risks.
Yep. I had to take risks of not listening and possibly re-injuring. And I had some days where I thought I went backwards sometimes, but I had to take a risk of, all right, you know what? I really want this, so let me figure it out my way. Like I have to train a little different because my hips like this and that's like this and my knees like that. But and I don't advise this to anybody, but I had to take a risk because my what I wanted for a goal was bigger than a risk. I put my body through hell to get it healthy again. I had to break it back down and build it back up, and I risked maybe re-injuring my knee permanently, but I just took my time.
You're still here.
I'm still here,
Yeah.
still knocking them out.
I remember you came to Iceland. You know, I didn't know much about you, and you showed me a picture that you played in Catch the Fair One. Is that your first gig in the movie business, or?
It was my very first movie.
Yeah. How did that come along?
Through Instagram.
Yeah. Okay.
The director writer reached out to me around 2017-ish, asking me if I ever acted before. He had this script that he wrote, and I was just like, who's this weirdo with this movie that he wants to be in? Because I've gotten plenty of people with these ideas that never ever amount to anything. But he checked out. He got to know me. He was writing a script based around missing murdered Indigenous women. And he knew it was a very important story to tell. He just knew it wasn't his story to tell. So he just wanted to get my perspective using my boxing platform to just bring awareness to the issue. And I gave him as much perspective as I had, as well as resources that I learned from, and also some of the families and victims that, or families of victims that I've sat with and talked to, just so he can get a better picture. The more he got to know me, the more he wanted me to be involved with the writing process. So I helped him write the script. And I had no previous acting anything. But oddly enough, around the same time, my brother passed away from brain cancer, and boxing was our thing. Like I didn't use boxing to grieve, and I couldn't because I just wanted to stay away from it because it was just such a weird thing not having him there with me. So I was just looking at other outlets, but for whatever reason, acting was kind of like, I'm like, all right, maybe I'll try acting. It seems like, I'd life after boxing. I can't box forever. I need to do something. But I wasn't thinking bigger scale. I was just thinking, let me try to do like a commercial. I have no idea. But I put it out to the universe. I said, if it's meant for me, it'll find me. And a week later, that's when he reached out to me on Instagram. And I just did the best I could with the resources I had. And when we had an intention on telling this very, very dark, very hard story to tell, but I was capable of doing it to the best of my ability. And we just did it. And very proud of it. It was a very difficult subject to touch on, and it was, the balance between not sexualizing or romanticizing the sex trafficking that we touch on. We know what happens, and then not beating over the head with a documentary, this is what's going on, but also trying to intertwine it with an entertainment genre, but just present this issue in front of an audience that maybe wouldn't know about it.
So I think you did it justice because, that's, I've watched it probably 2 times again since I watched it first, and it's a good movie, I can tell you. So everybody's listening should check out Catch the Fair One. First, you could probably see it on, it's not on Netflix, but it's on HBO, right? And
on Hulu, it's on Prime, it's on, I think it's on Apple TV still, but IFC is the one who has it. So if anything, you have any IFC.
Okay.
Hopefully Netflix will pick it up soon because I know everybody has Netflix.
Yeah. Especially in Iceland, like that's the go-to thing. Stuff like we was. So. You said that you're kind of maintaining today, like your health and your fitness. Is that something that, how much do you work out these days?
Anywhere from 4 to 5 times a week. I'll go do weight training with my husband. I always run sprints at least twice a week, at least 10 sprints, gotta open up my lungs. I sit in a steam sauna in my house or ride the bike for like 45 minutes in heat. I haven't boxed. I'll shadow box or something to kind of warm up and cool down, but a lot of ab work and a lot of legs. I've been keeping my legs in shape because that's one thing that the base, I don't want to have to get in shape like that when I fight again. So literally I've been keeping myself in really good normal people shape, if that makes sense. I'm still walking around at like 154, 155. And that's good for me. So I just try to stick to some cardio, but I don't run a bunch of miles right now because that's also something that's be tearing up my knees. So, and a lot of mobility stuff that I still do that I learned from you.
Yeah, good. Yeah.
That was huge. Like it was weird at first. I'm like, that's all we're doing. But I feel so good doing the stuff that I am doing now still. And even I've boxed a few times with my husband. He's like, yo, you look real like you feel sharp. I'm like, I'm telling you, man, it's because of everything I've been doing mobility wise, just taking care of stretching. I stretch if I don't work out, I stretch all the time. Drink plenty of water, try to still maintain eating the way I do just so that I can have a good start when I go into camp. I don't want to start from square one. And also it's a good mental thing. If I don't work out, then it's a problem, especially when I'm traveling. I'm like, you have got to put me in a hotel with a gym in it because I at least got to go there for like an hour, do some weight training, max out days, something. I don't know.
Yeah. Keeps you sane as well, right?
Yeah. I'd work out for everybody else, not for me. I just don't want to kill it.
Now I saw that like there's I can see in the fighting world there are like 2-3 kind of athletes. One that always keeps healthy, and I can see that like there's some people that are totally in or totally out. But if you want to have a long career, you have to be on it all the time. You don't have to be like, I probably talked to you about this, like, I call it with, remember Gunnar Nelson and the fighters here in Iceland, that, they're always 3 weeks, a month tops from peaking again. So we're working at 75, 80% intensity, but during camp we go to 100. But you always have to, if you want, it doesn't matter if you want to have a 5-year career, but as yourself, like fighting for 15, 20 years, that's a different story. Yeah. And then mobility and being an athlete all day is crucial.
Especially, like I said, because we don't have any season. So
Yeah.
always maintaining. And the last thing you want to do as a fighter is have to use the whole camp till you lose the weight. Like, you don't want to be fighting the scale the entire weight. So, like, at least the first 2 weeks, you want to work on just opening your lungs up again, getting the weight down okay. And then you can spend the rest of the camp working on your game plan, working on your skills, working on everything else. But if you're, 25, 30 pounds off your fight weight, you're spending the entire camp with a hot suit on and trying to, like, it's not comfortable. Like, I want to focus on skills. I want to focus on staying sharp, peaking, all that. I don't want to have to worry, and the weight will fall off. So it's really, really important. Like, but I will say the fact that I've been fighting for so long and then I have had the time off has done my body justice, because another thing, you don't want to be running on red all the time, because then you'll end up like me in my last fight, where my body was like, listen, if you don't have a seat, we're going to make you sit down. You know what I mean? I was run to to bare bone. So it's like one of those, you got to listen to your body too.
You still won it though, your last fight, right?
I won it. I was willing to die in there, man. I was health-wise, I was like kaput, but I was will-wise, I was gonna win, or I was gonna die swinging by any means necessary.
Yeah. Anybody out there should watch that fight. That's a proper good fight. It's what's her name? Carmen? No.
Camara, Jessica Camara.
Jessica Camara, exactly. Yeah, it's a good fight.
Yes, it was.
Yeah, I watched it the other day as well, so I was preparing a little bit.
Nice.
So, any advice for people coming up in the fight world? Anything that you should pay attention more than other? Like as I have talked a bit about before, that the fighting scene in Iceland is pretty young, and we don't have many female boxers here, and both like female or male boxers. And you're gonna, of course, change that, but sooner or later. Some advice. I've run into this odd lifestyle with some fighters, not all, that they don't watch it. They don't watch fighting. They don't watch boxing. Okay. I absolutely love boxing. This is only a few. Like, there's like maybe half and half, especially with females. Like, I'm like, do you watch boxing? No. I'm like, do you know who like Pernell Whitaker is, like Tyson, Joe Louis? Like, you don't? No, I don't watch. I'm like, why wouldn't you? Like, you can learn something from everybody. Old school fighters, heavy. You don't have to watch just female boxing or male boxing. You don't have to just watch your weight class, but watch boxing. If you do it, watch it. If you're a painter, you look at Van Gogh, you look at Picasso, you look at whatever inspires you. Like, have some people that inspire you, so you can like learn from that, or go to fights, pick brains. Don't have one-dimensional, or you only can learn something from this one person. You can also learn what not to do. Look at somebody who got knocked out. What were they doing wrong? Maybe you don't make that same mistake. Also, another thing is, like, don't get me wrong, I love strength and conditioning. I love strength and conditioning practice. I love training that. For me, I love it. But the very basics for especially boxing is push-ups, sit-ups, pull-ups, running, sparring, boxing. That's it. There's nothing else you need to do. Some sprints here and there, but don't make it too complicated. Like, if you're doing it for social media likes, don't do it. You got to find a reason why you're fighting. You got to, you're not, a loss does not mean your career is over. I have 7 of them, and I'm a world champion. Learn from your losses, learn from your wins, and don't ever get too comfortable. That is my number one rule. Don't ever get too comfortable. Don't get somewhere and say, I'm the champ, I can just relax now. No. Your workload is going to triple, if at the very least. So don't ever get too comfortable, man. I like that. I like that. Never get too comfortable. Yeah. Because, you know, if you decide like, okay, my career is going to be this long, and I'm going to like, then you can relax when you're done, like not during your career, like figure out what timeline is you're working with, but never relax, because you never know when you're going to get the call for the big fight or whatever. So you have to be healthy. And I also like what you said, like with strength and conditioning, there's a time and place for like when you're recovering from injuries, but strength and conditioning should always support your sport. Because we see it in the day and age of Instagram and followers. It's sometimes it's like the emphasis is not on the sport, because it's like how much can you show pictures of yourself punching the bag or doing like sparring, like. So focus on your sport. I like that comment. Yeah.
Yeah. And you know, just work with a trainer if you're gonna do strength and conditioning that knows you, knows your body, knows your capabilities, and will build off of that, and kind of has a structure, not because he thinks that he knows or they know the best, but just knows your body, knows your capabilities, and pushes you in the right areas. Because I have my strength and conditioning coach at home that I won't ever use anybody else, because he knows me. He knows when I don't want to do cleans because I hate doing cleans, but he knows that those explosive exercises is what's gonna get the knockout. So yeah, just take your time and do your research, man, because not everybody is for, and everything is for, not for everybody, and everyone is not for everyone either. Just because this one trains with that one doesn't mean that you should.
No, exactly. Yeah. Brian, your husband, is still your coach and your manager and everything,
Yes.
right? Yeah.
Manager, coach. Well, like I said, right now we're looking for, I still have my team, but we're looking for some people to add to it, so it's not so much on him because he has a huge workload. But yes, he is still managing me and my coach and best friend and all the above.
Of course, yeah. So what's next for Kali?
Well, I do have a few other movies coming out this year. So I did shoot a movie that my second role was a smaller role in a movie called Black Flies, but they just changed it to Asphalt City, with Sean Penn and Ty Sheridan. It was in it was in Cannes last year, but it's coming out, I believe, in March. I don't know where. But it's I had a small role in that. That was right after I did Catch the Fair One and before I did True Detective. And then while shooting True Detective, I got casted in Wind River 2. It should be out this year. I'm not really sure. And there's also another indie movie I did as well over the summer that should be out this year. But as far as working, my team, my agent, manager, everybody is working diligently to try to field all the phone calls that are coming through for some more jobs. So
Yeah.
we'll see what comes next. I would love to do a comedy in like a warm climate. That would be great. No dark, no death, no snow. I would be great. And just figuring out where and when and who the next fight will be,
Yeah.
and coming to visit you.
Yeah.
That's what's next.
Well, yeah, you should visit during the summer if you don't like the cold that much. You know, you have plenty of it in Philly right now, right? It's
Yeah.
yeah, summer. Yeah, I miss it, but we're gonna get there eventually. I was thinking about like nutrition, exercise. Has that changed during the your fight career? When you started out, did you think about nutrition and recovery? That was it high on the list then?
Yeah, I've never been one to like count calories or macros. I didn't even understand. I just always listen to my body and how it responds to things. Especially because I have
You fight at what 145 or no?
140. Yep.
Yeah, 140. Yeah, yeah.
I used to fight at 160 and now I fight at 140. So it was a change. It was definitely a change because once I walk around at like 155, 160, so it's easy. I can
Yeah,
kind of like pound on the muscle, but my training and nutrition definitely did change when I dropped down to 140 because I pack on muscle, as you know,
yeah,
so fast.
yeah.
Like when I start lifting things, it's like I get swelled up. So I had to do things a little bit different, eat a little bit different, just to tweak my body to also still have the fuel and the strength and the speed and everything else, but just to get down to that weight I was vegan for, I think I told you, for almost 8 years, and
Yeah.
then I started eating meat again because my body, I've gone through so much things health wise that I was just trying to, that was the one thing that was a little bit different that I tried, and I actually feel a little bit better. So we're still working on the gut issue health, which
Yeah.
I've learned a lot about.
Yeah.
That's another thing I can tell you is just pay attention to your all around health and nutrition as far as your body changes. So my body's has an attitude sometimes. But I don't really crave, I've never been a huge craver of bad food all the time because I don't like how it makes me feel. And that
Yeah.
kind of started when I started training at a young age. I've always tried to eat as healthy as possible. I have my days where I'm like, I don't care, but I eating bad food all the time is like, to me, it feels like being hungover all day. Like it just doesn't feel
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
So I rather feel good. Like some things don't taste good, but I rather eat it because I know what it does to my body. So
Yeah.
I will always continue to be like that. My husband's the same way.
So you're gonna eat rotten shark. Did you taste it here in Iceland?
Oh, I got scared because even Reynir, my driver, was like, "Don't try it. It's disgusting. You'll hate it." So, I haven't. I heard horror stories, so I will not be trying this.
Yeah. Well, let's try it next time you're here. Yeah,
Okay.
I think we'll go well in your gut biome. Like it will set
It will
it.
probably it will reset it.
Yeah, reset. I said like it's gonna reset it. Yeah.
Yep. Exactly.
So next on the agenda for you, traveling to Europe, following up with True Detective, and are they starting showing them there or?
Yeah, everything is synchronized, so everywhere it might be like the day later, but we have just some press stuff to do promoting the show, and then we'll be in London around the finale,
Ah, yeah,
which is
yeah.
kind of cool. Finale episode 6 is crazy. Well, all the episodes are crazy, but episode 6 is crazy. And then that should wrap up most of our pretty much promo tour for the show.
Yeah.
If there's anything else that comes out afterwards, and then we're gonna kind of see what happens.
Nice. Well, at least I'm your number one fan, so I'll be watching you and looking forward getting you over to Iceland again,
Absolutely.
and following up your career as well. So it seems to be blossoming, and I know you deserve it because you've done the hard work. And next up, boxing, movie career. Kaylee, thank you so much for meeting up and looking forward. Give my best to Brian.
I will definitely.
And see you later. Thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you for having me.